Okay, let's truly unpack this. In our increasingly complex, often overwhelming modern world, we all, at some point, find ourselves searching for something more.
Right.
We yearn for deeper meaning, for practical wisdom that can genuinely help us navigate the relentless pace of daily life. It's a universal human quest, isn't it? That inherent desire for clarity, for a sense of peace amidst the constant noise.
Absolutely. We all feel it.
What's truly remarkable is that some of the most profound, universally applicable insights for this search aren't found in the latest self-help trends or, fleeting fads, but in ancient spiritual texts, some penned thousands of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They offer a timeless roadmap to something fundamental.
Precisely. This deep dive is designed to explore not just one, but a rich and diverse collection of these wisdom traditions. We're talking about texts that span centuries and continents, from profound Eastern philosophies to foundational Western mysticism, and even, well, contemporary spiritual teachings that echo these ancient truths.
So a real mix.
A real mix. And when we bring these seemingly disparate sources together, what organically emerges are striking common threads. We discover shared understandings about the very nature of the self, the fabric of reality itself, and, crucially, how to cultivate a harmonious and deeply meaningful life, regardless of your background or beliefs.
Right.
Our mission here isn't to delve into religious dogma or theological debates, but to meticulously extract those universal principles. We're looking for the actionable insights, the pathways for genuine personal growth, and profound transformation that resonate across all of these traditions.
That's a powerful mission. And it begs the question, with so many traditions spanning millennia, how do we find the common threads without, oversimplifying or losing the unique essence of each?
That's the challenge, yeah.
Well, our mission today is specifically for you, the listener. We aim to distill the most powerful nuggets of knowledge and insight that can provide a real shortcut, maybe, to navigating modern life with more clarity, inner peace, and perhaps even a few transformative aha moments that shift your perspective permanently.
Let's hope so.
So let's begin by challenging perhaps the most fundamental concept of all, our understanding of the self. Let's start with an experience I think every single one of us can relate to. You know that relentless voice in your head?
Oh, yeah. The commentator.
Exactly. The one that narrates your day, critiques your choices, replays conversations, and sometimes makes you feel like your mind is driving you absolutely crazy, especially when it just won't shut up, even at 2 in the morning.
Familiar territory.
It's that incessant, often overwhelming inner monologue that seems to dictate our moods and reactions. It's so constant, so pervasive, that it just feels like us, doesn't it? Like it is who we are.
And that's exactly where many of these ancient wisdom traditions, along with powerful modern spiritual teachings like those found in Michael A. Singer's The Untethered Soul, ask us to pause and look closer. The profound insight here, echoed across millennia, isn't just that you have thoughts, but that you are fundamentally separate from them.
Separate? How so?
Imagine your mind as a busy radio station constantly broadcasting. The core concept is this. There's a fundamental distinction between this vocalizing mechanism, the mind's constant chatter, the judgments, the anxieties, the planning, and the observer, which is your pure consciousness.
Okay.
The true you is the broadcast. It's the quiet listener who can choose to tune in or simply notice the noise without getting swept away. The true self is not the voice speaking in your head. It's the one hearing the voice.
Hearing it like it's something else.
Exactly. It's recognizing that you are the subject and your thoughts are merely objects that you can be aware of. This subject-object relationship with your thoughts is crucial because it allows for genuine detachment. You are not your thoughts, you are simply aware of them. This is the first monumental step towards inner freedom.
That's a profound distinction. It sounds incredibly simple, yet, well, revolutionary. So if we embrace this idea that we're the observer, not the thoughts, what does that actually look like in the middle of your Tuesday commute or when you're facing a tough decision or even just trying to fall asleep? How does this awareness change your immediate day-to-day experience? What's the practical implication here for us, the listener?
The practical change is monumental, and it's something you can begin experimenting with immediately. This awareness, this knowing that you are the observer, keeps you from getting lost in your thoughts, from becoming entangled in what the untethered soul calls your own melodrama.
Your own melodrama. I like that.
Right. It's about consciously reminding yourself not to play the mind game, not to get swept away by every fleeting thought or emotional reaction. You can set up trigger points in your daily life, like when you get into your car, before you open a door, or even just when your phone buzzes. Just to pause, Notice what's going on within you and remember that you don't have to identify with it.
Just a quick pause and check in.
Exactly. Consciousness itself, Singer explains, is a dynamic field of awareness. It has the ability to either focus very narrowly on an object or expand broadly to encompass everything. When consciousness narrows and concentrates intensely on an object, whether it's a problem, a memory, or an external distraction, it loses its broader sense of self.
Okay.
Think about getting so absorbed in a movie that you completely forget you're sitting in a cold, dark theater munching on popcorn. You literally get lost in that experience, becoming one with the story.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
But if you can maintain awareness of yourself as the one watching the movie or watching your thoughts, you gain a powerful form of freedom and perspective. You realize you can observe the internal drama without becoming the protagonist caught in its every twist and turn.
This observer idea is already groundbreaking, but then you encounter someone like Sam Harris in Waking Up, and he takes it even further to a truly mind-bending place. He argues that the very self we conventionally experience, this eye behind our eyes, is actually an illusion.
An illusion, wow.
This conventional self, he posits, is a transitory appearance among transitory appearances. It suggests there's no place for a soul inside your head in the traditional localized sense, because consciousness may even be divisible, as seen in studies of split-brain patients, and is certainly blind to most of the brain's vast activity.
Right. We're not aware of most of what our brain does.
Exactly. The idea that our sense of a unified, unchanging self, this enduring I, is fundamentally an illusion, challenges our deepest assumptions. That's a truly provocative thought, isn't it?
It is indeed. And what's fascinating is this isn't just a spiritual or philosophical idea. Even modern philosophy grapples with it, calling it the explanatory gap or the hard problem of consciousness.
Well, hard problem.
Essentially, even though neuroscientists can pinpoint exactly what's happening in the brain physically, which neurons are firing, what chemical reactions are occurring, we still have no scientific explanation for why those physical processes create the subjective feeling of being you, of having an internal experience, of qualia, of sensing the redness of red or the sweetness of sugar.
Why does it feel like something?
Precisely. Why does the brain feel like something on the inside? This profound mystery underscores the depth and complexity of consciousness, suggesting that it extends far beyond purely physical or reducible terms, challenging us to look beyond conventional materialist views and consider that there's, well, something more. #tag ego, separation, and fear.
So if this self we cling to is largely an illusion and we're just the observer, then what is the origin of all that internal noise, the suffering, the constant unease many of us feel? It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? If we're supposed to be this peaceful observer, if we're not our thoughts, what's generated all this internal struggle?
This is where many profound spiritual traditions converge on the concept of the ego as a central culprit. Texts like A Course in Miracles and Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now provide incredibly vivid descriptions of this construct.
The ego.
The ego, in this view, fundamentally perceives reality as a collection of separate wholes. Its entire operating system is based not on connection or unity, but on actively establishing and protecting this sense of separateness.
It likes being separate.
It thrives on it. It resists true communication or merging because its very existence relies on boundaries and distinctions. The ego, by its nature, cannot know anything. Truly, because its foundation is on division. It fragments reality. It operates from a deeply ingrained belief that the best defense is a pack, constantly seeking to guard its perceived, fragile, separate identity against perceived threats, even when those threats are entirely internal.
That makes perfect sense, especially when you think about how we often react to things. So how does this ego-driven need to protect itself manifest in our daily lives? What does that look like when it's playing out, and how does it specifically affect us, particularly when it comes to experiencing something as pervasive as fear?
The ego's relentless need for self-preservation is, in essence, the primary engine of fear and suffering. A Course in Miracles offers a very clear diagnostic. Whenever there is fear, it is because you have not made up your mind.
Not made up your mind. About what?
This isn't about indecision in a simple choice. It's about a deeper, fundamental split within your own mind, a wavering between the ego's perception of separation and your true nature of oneness. This internal split leads to erratic behavior and a pervasive sense of unease.
Yeah.
The ego, perceiving something alien to itself in your true unified mind, forms an alliance with the body, reinforcing this false sense of separation, truly believing that the body is not part of you in an essential way. It's an alliance of fear, and if you side with it, if you buy into its narrative of separation and scarcity, you will inevitably be afraid.
Wow. Alliance of fear.
The power of now further expands on this, stating that all negative emotions, anger, resentment, sadness, anxiety, are ultimately modifications of one primordial, undifferentiated emotion, which he calls pain.
Pain.
Yeah.
Underlying it all.
Yes. This pain, Tully argues, originates from the loss of awareness of who you are beyond name and form. The tragic irony is that the mind's incessant efforts to fight, suppress, or remove this pain only increase it, because the mind is itself an intrinsic part of the problem.
Trying to fix it makes it worse.
Often, yes, because the tool you're using, the egoic mind, is the source of the issue. True freedom from this deeply ingrained pain, from the suffering, comes from ceasing to derive your sense of self from identification with the mind, which is to say, from ego. It's about letting go of that limited, fear-driven identity.
So it sounds like fear and suffering are intimately tied to this deep-seated, ego-driven sense of separation from others, from our true nature, and even from life itself. It's a powerful cycle. How then do we even begin to break free from this pervasive, often unconscious identification with the ego?
From the perspective of Conversations with God, breaking free requires a radical, almost audacious shift in perception. It boldly states that most, if not all, of the world's problems, conflicts, and individual suffering would be solved if humanity would simply abandon the concept of separation and adopt the concept of visibility.
Visibility, what does that mean exactly?
This isn't just a nice sentiment. It means choosing, consciously and deliberately, to never see yourself again as separate from one another and never see yourself as separate from me. Me referring to the divine, the source, all that is. This is a profound paradigm shift towards recognizing our inherent oneness, not just as an idea, but as a felt reality.
Seeing everyone and everything as connected, as part of the same me.
Exactly. However, the text also makes it abundantly clear that this shift faces a formidable adversary, a deeply entrenched habit. Fear will be your greatest enemy. Fear distorts, disdains, and destroys these magnificent truths, making them appear hollow, impractical, or even dangerous. But by consciously choosing to overcome that fear and embracing unity, both with others and with the divine, we begin to truly reclaim our authentic, boundless selves. It's an active choice to see differently. #tag the soul as essence and evolutionary journey.
Okay, if the ego is an illusion, if we're more than our thoughts and emotions, and if separation itself is a fundamental misperception, then what is our true identity? What is the enduring essence of who we are, the part that persists beyond these transient appearances and illusions? There must be something more profound at our core.
Yes, there is. The Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukov offers a compelling and expansive definition describing the soul as the essence of who you are.
Yes.
It's depicted not as a static, fixed entity, but as the powerful, expansive, evolving center of all that you are. The concept presented is one of divine intelligence, the universal consciousness, the source of all existence, taking on individual forms. Zukov uses the analogy of droplets, suggesting that this infinite, boundless power massively reduces itself to become small particles of individual consciousness.
Like tiny pieces of the whole ocean, but still the ocean.
Precisely. So each of us as a soul is a unique, individuated expression of this vast divine intelligence containing within us the essence of the whole.
That's truly fascinating. It's not just about what we are now, but our origin. And what's particularly compelling here is the idea that even seemingly external aspects of our identity, such as your race or your sex, are not random assignments, not accidents of birth, but rather conscious choices made by the soul itself.
Choices. The soul chooses these things.
According to this perspective, yes. The purpose: to participate in the evolution of human experience. This implies that our specific circumstances, our unique identities, the challenges we face, all serve a much deeper, deliberate purpose in our soul's ongoing journey of learning and growth. It shifts the entire perspective on destiny versus choice.
And this leads to a critical reevaluation of our understanding of psychology and human experience. The text argues that traditional five-sensory psychology, which relies primarily on what can be observed, measured, and understood through our physical senses, does not adequately recognize the existence of the soul.
Because it can't see the soul.
Right. Because it operates without this fundamental understanding, it cannot fully grasp the soul's temperament, what truly contributes to its health or what causes it profound distress.
Yeah.
Without an awareness of the deeper karmic circumstances of our our experiences, including the profound notion of those circumstances stemming from other lifetimes, our understanding of persistent emotions like fears, angers, and jealousies remains incomplete.
So things might have deeper roots than we think.
Exactly. Our interactions with others, for example, are seen not as random encounters or arbitrary events, but as karmic necessities that offer potential awakenings, opportunities for growth that are precisely tailored to our soul's needs.
Wow. That changes how you see every interaction.
It really does. The profound implication of this understanding is that humanity is currently undergoing an unprecedented evolutionary leap. We are moving from what Zukov calls unconscious evolution through experiences that are created unconsciously by unconscious intentions to a completely new phase. Conscious evolution driven by conscious choices.
Moving from accidental growth to intentional growth.
You got it. He refers to those who embrace this as multisensory humans, individuals who recognize these conscious choices as truly heroic acts. Every decision we make, every intention we set, every reaction we choose determines whether we step closer to your soul or closer to your personality.
Soul or personality.
The distinction is clear and vital. The energy of your personality is contracted, fearful, and predatory, constantly grasping and defending. In stark contrast, the energy of your soul is open, joyful, and giving, expansive and generous. The question then becomes, and it's perhaps the most important choice we can make, what more important choice can you make? This calls us to a profound self-awareness and intentionality in how we live every single moment of our lives.
These insights into the nature of self and soul are profound. But many spiritual traditions also speak of incredibly challenging internal journeys, sometimes referred to as dark nights, on the path to deeper spiritual connection and transformation. What does this often daunting process actually entail? It sounds like it can be incredibly difficult, but also potentially profoundly liberating.
It can indeed be both, and it's a phase described with exquisite detail by mystics across traditions. St. John of the Cross, in his seminal work Dark Night of the Soul, describes distinct stages of spiritual purgation.
Purgation, like a cleansing. Exactly, but often a very intense one. He explains that this process, while initially bringing darkness to the spirit, paradoxically does so to illumine it and give it light, of a brighter and intenser kind.
Darkness leads to light.
In this context, yes. During this night, the soul often experiences profound aridities and temptations. Imagine feeling completely dry, devoid of spiritual comfort or inspiration, even questioning your faith or purpose. This isn't just a bad mood, it's a deep inner struggle, a kind of spiritual crucible where old certainties are burned away.
Sounds rough.
It can be. You also experience darkness and perils as you're stripped of what you once relied upon. It's a necessary stripping away of the old, a purification, a cleansing fire, to prepare for a new, far more profound state of being and deeper union.
What's fascinating here is the powerful comparison St. John of the Cross uses to explain the soul's transformation during this intense period. He likens it to the log of wood, which gradually becomes transformed through being immersed in fire and at last takes on the fire's own properties.
Wow, that's vivid, becoming the fire itself.
Right. This vividly conveys a process of complete immersion and assimilation. This enkindling of spiritual love, he writes, can be keenly and sharply wounded during the process. It's not gentle, it's intense and painful, but ultimately it offers a certain realization and foretaste of God. It truly speaks to a deep, fiery purification that fundamentally changes the nature of the self.
Absolutely. To elaborate on this purgative aspect, St. John explains that for the understanding to truly unite with divine light, it must first be purged and annihilated as to its natural light.
Annihilated. Strong word.
It is. This means experiencing a profound and horrible and most painful darkness, a complete disorientation where your usual ways of knowing and perceiving are dismantled. This darkness is felt in the deepest substance of the spirit, not just intellectually, preparing it for the divine illumination that transcends ordinary reason.
So breaking down the old way of seeing.
Exactly. Similarly, the will must be purged and annihilated in all its affections and feelings, leading to a state of aridity and constraint. This isn't a punishment, but a preparation, a clearing of the vessel, so that the will can feel the rare and sublime touches of divine love and be divinely transformed.
Letting go of old desires.
Yes. In this state, the soul begins to feel a pilgrimage in being a stranger to all things, detaching from the familiar and embracing a profound sense of otherworldliness, a detachment from everything it previously held dear, including its own spiritual comforts.
This internal journey finds a beautiful architectural parallel in St. Teresa of Avila's interior castle, which metaphorically describes the soul as a magnificent castle with many mansions.
Ah, yes, the mansions.
It's in the fourth mansions, where the supernatural element of the mystical life first enters, signifying a crucial shift from purely personal effort to an influx of divine grace. Here, the soul begins to receive profound spiritual consolations and experiences what she calls the prayer of quiet, a deep inner stillness where God's presence is profoundly felt, even if not fully comprehended.
The prayer of quiet sounds peaceful, despite the journey.
It is. It marks a turning point. This is where the deeper, more passive connection truly begins to unfold, laying the groundwork for further chambers.
And as the soul progresses through these inner mansions, its love is now free from servile fear. It has begun to break all the bonds which previously hindered its progress. Bonds of attachment, ego, and worldly desires.
Letting go of fear again.
Always back to fear. St. Teresa emphasizes that a crucial aspect, particularly for beginners in prayer, is to bring one's will into conformity with the will of God. This, she declares, comprises the very greatest perfection which can be attained on the spiritual road.
Aligning your will with the divine.
Yes. It involves embracing the cross, accepting suffering and challenging circumstances not as random misfortunes, but as opportunities for deeper surrender and purification, and realizing that she who is capable of the greatest suffering suffer most for him, and she will have the most perfect freedom.
Wow, that's a paradox. Suffering leads to freedom.
A profound spiritual paradox. This reveals that through embracing discomfort and difficulty, true liberation is found. Even when there are times of conflict and trial and weariness in the outer aspects of life, when the external world might be challenging, the soul's center or spirit remains in a profound and difficult to describe state of peace and stability. It's an unshakable inner core cultivated through this deep internal work.
So these internal shifts, these purifications, sound incredibly profound and transformative, but also like a profound undertaking. But how does one actively engage in this kind of spiritual purification and connection? What are the specific practices, perhaps more contemplative ones, that lead to such deep understanding and union? It seems almost beyond words.
You're right. It is often described as beyond words. Which brings us to a radical yet profound path outlined in The Cloud of Unknowing, an anonymous 14th century text.
The Cloud of Unknowing. Intriguing title.
It is. It counsels an approach to God that deliberately steps beyond intellectual understanding. Quote, "Of God himself can no man think. He may well be loved, but not thought."
Loved but not thought. So feeling over intellect.
In a sense, yes. The instruction is not to grasp God with your intellect, but to leave all that thing that I can think and choose to my love that thing that I cannot think. It's a deliberate surrendering of all conceptualization, all mental frameworks, in favor of a deeper, non-conceptual, purely loving connection. It's about letting go of what your mind can do to access something it cannot.
That's a powerful and counterintuitive instruction.
Yep.
It's an active process of unknowing then. It involves casting down all thought, even seemingly positive and pious ones like of the kindness and the worthiness of God, and covering it with a cloud of forgetting.
A cloud of forgetting, letting go of everything you think you know.
Right. The practitioner is called to step above it stalwartly or mistily, with a devout and a pleasing stirring of love, and try to pierce that darkness above thee, and smite upon that thick cloud of unknowing with a sharp dart of longing love, and go not thence for thing that befalleth.
Smite the cloud with longing love. That's intense imagery.
It is. It's a relentless, almost aggressive, yet profoundly loving pursuit through the unknown, through the void of conceptual understanding. It emphasizes persistence and pure desire.
The outcome of this dedicated practice, according to the Cloud of Unknowing, is profoundly transformative. This privy love pressed in cleanness of spirit, a love stripped of all mental baggage and worldly attachments, enables a person to get a true knowing and a feeling of thyself as thou art, and then a true knowing and a feeling of God as he is.
So first know yourself, then know God through love.
Exactly. The text explains that this process cultivates a direct experiential knowing, not an intellectual one. The ultimate aim of this journey is to knit the ghostly knot of burning love betwixt thee and thy God, in ghostly one-head and according of will. It's about merging one's individual will with the divine will, becoming one through this pure, non-conceptual, fiery love. It's not about thinking about God, but becoming one with God.
This journey of discerning a divine light, one that transcends our ordinary perception and understanding, resonates powerfully with the spiritual autobiography of St. Augustine in his Confessions.
Augustine.
He vividly describes experiencing a divine light that was powerfully different from any physical light. He understood it as higher because it made me, and I was lower in that I was made by it. He recognizes this light as eternity itself, an eternity known not through reason or sensation, but through selfless love.
Selfless love again, a common thread.
Absolutely. He recounts shaking with passionate desire and abject fear upon first knowing this profound truth, realizing he wasn't yet the person who could fully perceive it or live within it. This underscores the profound and sometimes overwhelming, even terrifying, nature of these direct spiritual encounters. They demand a level of internal purification and readiness that is far from trivial. Hashtag the power of presence and conscious action. So, given these intense internal transformations through contemplation and purgation, is this spiritual journey only achieved through contemplative retreat and deep prayer in isolation from the world? Or can our everyday actions and engagement with the world also be a path to spiritual growth and connection? How do we live spiritually in the midst of our active, busy, modern lives?
This is where the Bhagavad Gita offers an incredibly powerful and practical answer with its emphasis on karma yoga, which can be understood as working out on consciousness, or more broadly, acting with spiritual awareness.
Karma yoga, the yoga of action.
Precisely. In the context of the epic battle it describes, Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna that by engaging in battle and killing the body, he would not be killing the eternal individual soul. All persons, including the Lord himself, are eternal individuals. They were individuals in the past, they're individuals in the present, and they will continue to remain individuals in the future.
So the soul is eternal, unchanging.
Yes. We simply change our bodily dress, but retain our individuality. Karma yoga in this context means to work in full knowledge of one's relationship with the Supreme Absolute. It's about transforming any action into a spiritual offering, performing your duties not out of attachment to outcomes, but with this profound understanding of your true self and your eternal connection to the divine.
Acting in the world, but not being bound by it.
Exactly, that's the key.
So it's not about avoiding action, which is often our first thought when we consider spiritual paths, but rather acting with a spiritual intelligence, understanding our eternal nature and our connection to the divine source. It's about how we act. And what's truly compelling here is how the Gita describes even basic necessities within this grand spiritual framework. Things like food grains and rains essential for life are produced by yajna, sacrifice, which in turn is born of prescribed duties.
Sacrifice leads to rain. How does that work?
It connects even our daily sustenance, our very physical existence, to a spiritual framework, suggesting that all of life can be seen as an offering and a part of a larger divine order, a cosmic reciprocation. It elevates the mundane to the sacred.
Okay, so sacrifice isn't just giving something up, it's participating in a cycle.
Yeah.
Got it. This kantha consciousness is often called bhakti yoga, or undivided devotional service, emphasizing devotion and love. The text explains that by worshipping kantha, the demigods who manage material affairs are automatically worshipped, so there's no need for separate, intricate rituals for each one.
A kind of spiritual efficiency.
You could say that. A powerful practical aspect of this, deeply revered in this tradition, is eating food offered to Kant, known as prasadam.
Sacred food.
Yes. This practice is said to spiritually nourish the body, purify the mind, protect from material affection, meaning entanglement in the fleeting world, and even vanquish past sinful reactions. It acts as a kind of immunization against the contamination of material nature, offering protection from the stresses and impurities of the world.
Wow, food is medicine for the soul.
In a very real sense, yes. This unalloyed devotional service, performed with full devotion and knowledge, is presented as the only way to truly understand kantha, offering a path where all actions become spiritualized.
This concept of conscious action and mindful living, of engaging with the world while remaining spiritually connected, deeply resonates with Eckhart Tolle's emphasis on presence in the power of now.
Tolle's presence. Very practical.
Very. He teaches that the more attention you give to the past, the more you energize it, keeping you trapped in old patterns and grievances. Instead, he urges us to radically shift our focus. Give attention to the present. Give attention to your behavior, to your reactions, moods, thoughts, emotions, fears, and desires as they occur in the present.
Be here now.
Fundamentally. This, the text explains, is the powerful way to dissolve the conditioning of the past, because You cannot find yourself by going into the past. You find yourself by coming into the present. It's a constant conscious effort to return to the only moment we truly have.
And for those moments when the mind is particularly active, perhaps caught in a vortex of worry or anxiety, the power of now offers a tangible and immediate practice: conscious breathing.
Just breathe.
It's a powerfully simple yet profoundly effective tool to bring attention back to the inner body and cultivate presence. By simply following your breath as it moves in and out of your body, feeling your abdomen expand and contract, or the air moving through your nostrils, you can immediately get in your body.
Ground yourself.
Exactly. If you find it easy to visualize, you can imagine luminous substance filling up your body and making it luminous also, helping you anchor your awareness not in the chaotic thoughts, but in the vibrant, alive feeling of your physical form. This immediate shift of attention can be profoundly calming and centering, pulling you out of the mind's drama and into the direct experience of being. #tag mindfulness and compassion as healing presence.
Once we start to cultivate this sense of presence and conscious action, returning to the present moment, how do we apply it to navigating the really challenging emotions and difficult life situations that inevitably arise? It's one thing to be present during a calm moment, another entirely during a storm of intense feelings like anger, grief, or fear.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? This is where the concept of radical acceptance, beautifully articulated by Tara Brach, becomes profoundly useful, emphasizing two essential wings that must work in tandem: mindfulness and compassion.
Two wings. Like a bird needs both to fly.
Precisely. Mindfulness in this context means a vivid awareness of whatever is appearing in one's mind or body, thoughts, sensations, moods, without grasping at the pleasant or recoiling from the unpleasant. It's about being fully present with what is, however uncomfortable, without immediate judgment or the urge to change it. You're simply witnessing, like a neutral observer.
Just watching it, even if it hurts.
Yes. And here's why compassion joins mindfulness so powerfully. If we were to bring only the wing of mindfulness to a challenging situation, we might become acutely aware of our suffering, the aching in our heart, the flush of rage, the tightness in our chest, but we might also compound our suffering by feeling angry with ourselves for getting into the situation in the first place.
Right, beating yourself up for feeling bad.
Exactly. We can become a harsh inner critic. This is where compassion steps in, enabling us to be softly and kindly present with our open wounds, rather than instinctively pushing them away, judging ourselves for having them, or trying to fix them immediately. It's a tender, unconditional acceptance of our current emotional state, no matter how difficult. It's self-kindness in the face of pain.
So awareness plus kindness.
You got it. The transformative power of this radical acceptance lies in letting life live through you and opening to the fullness and mystery of our life, even its difficult aspects. Radical acceptance describes a poignant experience of encountering intense fear, where the practitioner was encouraged to simply open to the fear and asked, "How big are you?"
Asking the fear how big it is. Wow.
Yes. As the fear intensified, even threatening to fill the universe, they silently said yes, allowing the feeling to expand without resistance, without trying to contain or diminish it.
Saying yes to fear.
This radical openness, this willingness to allow everything, revealed that empty awareness is full with presence, alive with knowing. It shows that by making room for even the most overwhelming sensations, by not fighting them, we connect to a boundless awareness that can hold everything, transforming the fear from something to escape into something that can be observed and understood.
That's incredibly powerful, and it shifts the entire paradigm of how we relate to difficult emotions. And it brings to mind a powerful personal example from the source. Daniel, a client Tara Brach mentions, who, whenever he found himself judging himself or others, a very common human tendency, would place his hand on his heart and softly say, "I care about this suffering."
Just acknowledging the pain with care.
Exactly. This simple yet revolutionary act of treating ourselves tenderly, the text explains, can begin to undo the aversive messages of a lifetime. It's a way of extending radical acceptance and compassion directly to our own inner experience, healing old wounds by acknowledging them with kindness, rather than perpetuating the cycle of self-criticism. It's an immediate path to inner peace. #tag personal anecdotes of spiritual growth and mystical experiences. These concepts of profound internal shifts, reperceiving the self and cultivating presence, can sometimes feel abstract, almost theoretical, especially to someone who hasn't had such experiences. What about real-life accounts? Are there individuals who have genuinely experienced these kinds of deep spiritual awakenings or transformations firsthand, demonstrating that these aren't just philosophical ideas but lived realities?
Absolutely. Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda is a treasure trove of such compelling anecdotes, providing vivid first-hand accounts of advanced spiritual states.
Ah, yes, that's a classic, full of amazing stories.
It really is. For example, he recounts his encounter with Swami Pranabhananda, who mysteriously knew of Yogananda's presence and thoughts without being told, simply through direct spiritual perception,
Mind reading, essentially.
or something like it. Or the story of Sri Yukteswar, Yogananda's guru, who could immediately diagnose Yogananda's liver disorder and even state the exact duration of his suffering, again without any verbal information or medical examination.
Like an intuitive diagnosis.
Exactly. Even more astonishing is the account of Babaji, a legendary immortal yogi who beams lovingly on his resurrected Shela disciple, proclaiming, "Death shall not touch you again. Now you are one of our immortal flock."
Resurrection and immortality. Pretty far out there.
Definitely pushes the boundaries of conventional reality. These stories, presented as true accounts, suggest a dimension of reality and human capability far beyond ordinary perception and physical laws, hinting at what is possible through advanced spiritual practice.
What's truly fascinating here is the idea that these experiences aren't just isolated anomalies or, parlor tricks, but rather demonstrations of an advanced state of disciplinary yoga or deep spiritual mastery. These masters, according to the text, live in the omnipresent spirit, seamlessly transcending physical laws and ordinary human limitations.
Living beyond the physical norm.
They showcase the profound capabilities available through sustained spiritual practice, suggesting that consciousness can operate in ways we barely comprehend if properly cultivated. It's a glimpse into the incredible potential of human consciousness.
And this brings us to the profound insights of William James in The Varieties of Religious Experience, a foundational text in the study of spirituality and psychology.
William James, the pragmatist philosopher.
That's him. James, a pragmatist, shifts our focus from inherited dogma to the crucial importance of original experiences, the direct, transformative encounters of great-souled persons wrestling with the crises of their fate. He argues that to truly understand the nature of religious and spiritual consciousness, we must look to these direct, first-hand experiences, rather than what he calls second-hand religious life. That is, merely inherited beliefs and traditions that lack personal conviction.
He wants the real deal, not just the theory.
Exactly. He's interested in what happens to people. James then describes what he calls the faith state as a sthenic affection, or an excitement of the cheerful, expansive, dynamogenic order.
Sthenic. Dynamogenic, big words. What do they mean?
Basically, a robust, energizing positivity. This isn't just a fleeting good mood. He explains it as a robust, deeply positive emotional energy that freshens our vital powers, making us feel more alive and capable. This state imparts endurance to the subject, giving us resilience, or zest, a keen enjoyment for life, or meaning, a deeper purpose, or an enchantment and glory to the common objects of life.
Makes ordinary life seem extraordinary.
Precisely. It's not merely a feeling of escape from suffering or a passive withdrawal. On the contrary, it's a profound sense of joyous expansion or aspiration of the whole soul, a feeling of being connected to something infinite and deeply meaningful. It's an active, energetic engagement with existence.
And James reaches a truly impactful conclusion from his extensive study. These mystical states, when well developed, usually are and have the right to be absolutely authoritative over the individuals to whom they come.
Authoritative, meaning they know it's real for them.
Exactly. He explains this simply and powerfully. They have been there and know. For those who experience them directly, these insights are self-validating and transformative. Crucially, he asserts that these experiences break down the authority of the non-mystical or rationalistic consciousness based upon the understanding and the senses alone.
Challenges pure rationality.
Right. In doing so, they don't invalidate science, but rather open up the possibility of other orders of truth, inviting us to consider realities and forms of knowledge beyond our conventional, purely scientifically verifiable understanding. They push the boundaries of what we consider real and knowable. We thoroughly explore the internal landscape, from redefining the self beyond the mind to the transformative paths of purgation and contemplation, and even tangible mystical experiences. Now, the big pressing question is, how does this deep inner work, this redefinition of self and cultivation of presence, translate into our everyday lives? How does it profoundly impact our relationships with others and our engagement with the world around us? How do we take these insights and live them out?
This is where Conversations with God offers a profoundly ethical and spiritual principle that serves as a cornerstone for harmonious living. It states, That what you do to others, you do to yourself. What you fail to do for others, you fail to do for yourself. That the pain of others is your pain and the joy of others your joy. And that when you disclaim any part of it, you disclaim a part of yourself.
Wow, that's heavy. What you do to others, you do to yourself.
It is. This is not merely a moral teaching or a philosophical ideal. It is presented as a fundamental truth about an interconnected reality. It's a direct consequence of the oneness we discussed earlier. If everything is truly interconnected, then there is no other in the ultimate sense.
So helping someone else is literally helping yourself.
And harming them is harming yourself. That's the implication.
That's a powerful and challenging concept to fully grasp, especially in a world that so often emphasizes individuality and competition. So what does this all practically mean for our day-to-day living? It sounds like it's about choosing to reclaim yourself from the illusion of separation and to see yourself again as who you really are.
Reclaiming your true nature.
This, the text implies, leads to what it calls conscious union with all that is, or God consciousness. In this state, the deeply ingrained illusion of separation, which fuels so much conflict and suffering, simply dissolves. Because, as the text asserts, we are always united. It is simply impossible not to be. The separation we experience is a chosen, unconscious, temporary state.
So the unity is always there, we just forget it.
We just often live in an unconscious experience of that unification, forgetting our true nature.
To further understand how this works in practice, we can turn to the concept of miracles from A Course in Miracles. Here, miracles are not just extraordinary supernatural events in the conventional sense, like walking on water.
Not parting the Red Sea, then.
Not necessarily. Instead, they are described as a universal blessing from God through me to all my brothers. They are fundamentally a manifestation of freedom from fear. Atoning in this context does not mean suffering for sins, but rather undoing fear and correcting the misperception of separation.
Atonement as undoing fear. Interesting twist.
It is, and miracles are the very means by which this atonement works. It's highlighted as the privilege of the forgiven to forgive, emphasizing that once we release our own grievances, we are then empowered to extend that same release to others.
Forgive yourself, then you can forgive others.
Exactly. The ultimate goal and outcome of these miracles is oneness, a state where all separation vanishes, restoring us to our true indivisible nature, where our inherent unity is recognized and lived. ## karma, choices, and universal benevolence.
In this interconnected reality where our actions ripple outwards and our perception of separation is an illusion, how do our individual choices and intentions truly shape our experience and contribute to the collective well-being of the world? It seems to imply a profound, almost overwhelming responsibility for our every move.
Indeed, it places profound significance on personal agency. The seed of the soul makes it clear that human evolution has now shifted from a largely unconscious evolution, through experiences that are created unconsciously by unconscious intentions, to a deliberate conscious process driven by conscious choices.
We're moving into the driver's seat of our evolution.
That's the idea. In this understanding, every experience, even a challenging one, is viewed not as random misfortune, but as a karmic necessity that offers potential awakenings. This means our interactions with others are not accidental encounters or arbitrary events, but rather serve a deeper purpose in our individual and collective learning. They are precisely tailored lessons, opportunities for growth that our soul has chosen to manifest.
So even difficult people are teachers.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
From this perspective, they offer exactly what our soul needs to learn next.
This places a profound emphasis on the impact of our choices. The text states, depending on your choices, you step closer to your soul or closer to your personality. This isn't a judgment, it's a description of alignment.
Moving towards soul energy or personality energy.
Right. It urges us that creating authentic power requires that you recognize the existence of your soul and grow in knowledge of what it is and what it wants. It draws a clear, vital distinction between two fundamental energies we can embody. The energy of your personality is contracted, fearful, and predatory, constantly grasping, defending, and seeking external validation.
The ego stuff we talked about.
Exactly. But in stark contrast, the energy of your soul is open, joyful, and giving, expansive, generous, and connected. What a powerful call to align our daily decisions, from the smallest thought to the largest action, with our deepest, most expansive essence.
And expanding on this idea of universal reciprocation and the impact of our choices, the Bhagavad Gita teaches that everyone is searching for kin in the different aspects of his manifestations.
Everyone is seeking the divine, even if they don't call it that.
That's the essence. This is a beautiful statement of universal divine benevolence. The text illustrates that Ketna, or the supreme absolute truth, rewards all the devotees equally, according to their different intensities of love for him, whether one seeks him as a supreme master, a personal friend, a child, or a beloved.
So God meets you where you are, based on your love.
That's the picture it paints. This highlights a universal divine reciprocation that responds to the sincerity and disposition of one's inner search, no matter its form or the name by which one calls the divine. It's about the heart's intention.
That's quite comforting, actually.
It can be. This raises an important question. What is the ultimate aim of this spiritual seeking, this striving for conscious choice and connection? The Bhagavad Gita emphasizes that unless one comes to the highest perfection of consciousness, meaning full, loving awareness of the divine, all attempts remain imperfect.
So there's a peak to aim for.
Yes, but this isn't meant to discourage, but to clarify the ultimate goal. It clarifies that success in any spiritual process is ultimately achieved not just by personal effort, but by His mercy alone.
Grace plays a part.
A crucial part, according to this view. This suggests that while effort, devotion, and conscious choice are absolutely crucial, there's also a divine grace, a benevolent force that facilitates the final realization of spiritual goals, providing a comforting and empowering perspective on the long journey.
These are such deep spiritual insights, touching on the very nature of existence and our place within it. But how can we possibly integrate them into the practicalities of modern living, with all its relentless demands, temptations, and distractions? How do we take this profound wisdom and truly live it in our daily, often mundane lives?
This is a crucial bridge to cross, and thinkers across centuries have offered guidance. Henry David Thoreau, in his timeless work, Walden, offers a radical answer to the problem of modern complexity. A man is rich in proportion to the number of things which he can afford to let alone.
Rich by not having things. Countercultural.
Very. This isn't just about frugality or minimalism for its own sake. It's a powerful advocacy for doing without and cultivating individual independence from excessive consumerism and societal expectations. By deliberately simplifying one's life, one reduces the need for constant labor, for endless striving to acquire and maintain possessions, and thereby becomes freer to pursue higher aims.
Less stuff, less work, more freedom.
That's the formula. Thoreau himself exemplified this, stating he did not use tea, nor coffee, nor butter, nor milk, nor fresh meat, and so did not have to work to get them. His point was to show that a great deal of what we think we need, we actually don't, and releasing those attachments frees up enormous amounts of time and energy.
That's a stark contrast to modern consumer culture, isn't it? And it's an interesting perspective when you put Thoreau's philosophy next to a broader viewpoint from Conversations with God, which evaluates societies not just by their material wealth, but by what they collectively define as pleasurable and valuable.
Judging a society by its pleasures.
Right. It suggests that if a society is structured largely around pleasures of the body, focusing primarily on material acquisition, sensory gratification, and external validation, it is operating at a different level from a society structured around pleasures of the soul, which prioritize inner growth, connection, and spiritual fulfillment.
Body pleasures versus soul pleasures.
This isn't about denying all physical pleasures. It's about shifting our primary focus, our ultimate value system, from purely physical gratifications to higher, more elevated forms of pleasure that deeply resonate with the soul's expansive nature.
The Bhagavad Gita, as noted by William James in The Varieties of Religious Experience, offers a profound middle way regarding action and detachment, perfectly suited for living spiritually in the world. It states, "Only those need renounce worldly actions who are still inwardly attached thereto. If one be really unattached to the fruits of action, one may mix in the world with equanimity."
So if you're not attached, you don't need to run away to a cave.
Exactly. Think about checking your work emails on vacation. You're physically detached, but mentally, you're still completely entangled in the fruits of action, the outcomes, the worries, the deadlines.
Guilty as charged?
We all are sometimes. The Gita suggests true freedom comes when you can engage in any action, even if it's work, without that internal attachment to the outcome, allowing you to be fully present wherever you are, doing whatever is necessary, but without mental burden. This approach avoids both excessive asceticism and mere self-indulgence, advocating for an inner wisdom that leads to rest, to peace, and to nirvana right here in the midst of life.
Finding peace within the action. The Bhagavad Gita further highlights the importance of faith and disciplined practice as concrete pathways to this integrated spiritual life. It warns that ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down into lower states of awareness and suffering.
So doubt can be harmful on this path.
According to this text, yes. Instead, one should follow the principles of revealed scriptures with faith and follow in the footsteps of great acharyas, spiritual masters who teach by example, embodying the very principles they transmit.
Learning from those who walk the talk.
Precisely. The text outlines a comprehensive path involving concrete practices and virtues like humility, pridelessness, nonviolence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadfastness, self-control, renunciation without false egoism. These aren't just abstract virtues, they are concrete, actionable steps for living a deeply spiritually conscious and harmonious life, demonstrating that transformation is a gradual, disciplined process.
Ultimately, the practical application of all this profound wisdom, from ancient texts to modern insights, is beautifully summarized by the Untethered Soul in an incredibly simple yet challenging instruction. The ultimate trick is to not close.
Don't close your heart.
Exactly. This means do not let anything that happens in life be important enough that you're willing to close your heart over it. Whether it's a minor annoyance, a major disappointment, or even a profound betrayal, the invitation is to relax and open, letting situations be the sport of the day.
Treat life like a game, lightly.
In a way, yes. This radical openness, this willingness to embrace life's full spectrum of experiences without contracting or resisting, surprisingly, leads to a phenomenal energy level. It allows you to feel fully alive and empowers you with the ability to embrace life with all your heart and soul, no matter what comes your way. It's about maintaining an open, undefended state of being. #outro anyway.
What an incredible journey we've taken today, diving deep into the roots of spirit, ancient wisdom for modern times. We've traversed ancient and modern wisdom, from understanding the subtle, often illusory nature of our conventional self, to embracing powerful paths of presence, compassion, and conscious action within our deeply interconnected world.
We covered a lot of ground.
We really did. We've explored how inner transformation is not just a concept, but a lived reality, and how these profound shifts can utterly reshape our daily lives and interactions. It's truly a vast and intricate tapestry of insight, isn't it?
It truly is. And it's vital to remember that these aren't just abstract philosophical concepts or historical curiosities confined to dusty texts. These are profoundly practical, transformative insights designed to fundamentally change your experience of life from the inside out.
Right, they're meant to be used.
Absolutely. This raises an important question for you, the listener. How might you apply just one nugget of knowledge, one single insight from this deep dive into your own life, perhaps starting today?
Just one thing.
Just one. Perhaps by simply observing your thoughts without identifying with them, creating that crucial space. Or by approaching a challenging emotion with radical acceptance and compassion, allowing it to be rather than fighting it. Or perhaps simply by making one conscious choice today that aligns with the expansive, joyful, and giving energy of your true soul, rather than the contracted energy of personality.
So what does this all mean for you personally in this very moment? As you reflect on what we've discussed, consider this final provocative thought to carry forward. What subtle yet profound shift in your perception of self, from a fixed, separate entity to a dynamic, ever-observing consciousness deeply connected to everything, could unlock an entirely new level of freedom, joy, and connection in your life, starting right now?
A powerful question to sit with.
Indeed. The power, as we've learned from centuries of wisdom, is always in the present moment, waiting for you to simply open to it.